Hi, Steve Cooper, Rank Success, and this is another short video in a series of videos I'm doing to support aspiring promotion candidates across UK police forces, going for Sergeant Inspector, Chief Inspector primarily. And this is another food for thought video, if you like. I've got my glasses on and I will need them for this one. My eyes are needed to look at some of the small print, but I've got some notes here and I just wanted to use them to inform this video, and as a reminder to most people, I know your time's valuable, so if you need to tune into this again later or another time that suits you, you can download a digital promotion masterclass which covers a lot of these issues I'm going to be talking about. Well, this one I've called potential evidence areas. So potential evidence areas, and what I mean by that is evidence and examples to support you with promotion applications or in developing verbal responses for interviews, because it's one of the areas which people often want to talk about, and it's one of those areas of uncertainty that I often find myself kind of drawing things out of people to develop their scenarios and their policing experience, because you have to present it in a certain way for promotion processes to better align to the competency descriptors, and just to enable it to kind of thrive and have a life, if you like, within the promotion process and the context of a promotion board. And doing that to the best of your ability is important. Lots of cops have got lots of experience, but often are unaware, understandably sometimes, about how to present that in a promotion process, even though you get given guidance, instructions, and there's other sources of information to help you. This is one of them, hopefully, and it's free. And what I was going to say just now is, if you haven't got the time, just crack ahead and download one of my digital toolkits or a 4-hour promotion masterclass, and everything I'm going to be talking about in this video is detailed in there. And including detailed examples of promotion evidence at the level of the rank that you're going for. Okay, so I'll just I'm going to put my glasses on. I hope the light. There you go. The light wasn't reflecting too much. So just to kind of start this off in terms of potential evidence, the College of Policing have launched their leadership Cpd materials. So again, it's only right that I kind of direct and signpost you to what already exists. So the College of Policing have a leadership Cpd materials for aspiring candidates. And in there, they recognise leadership ranks differently, or they talk about them differently. So they talk about sergeants defined as first line leaders. Then you've got inspectors as middle managers, and then you've got chief inspectors and above as senior leaders. Now, just to explain, all three of those ranks, sergeant, inspector and chief inspector, are encapsulated, if you like, are assessed at through promotion selection processes, the competency and values framework at level 2. Okay, so people think, okay, level 2, that's all we've got to do. But if you think about it, first line supervisors, middle managers and senior leaders, there is still going to be some differences, even though they're assessed within level 2, and I'll expand on that now. So one of the areas that's difficult for people is they a lot of forces don't ask you to provide written information anymore. So there's no more applications, and those of you who watch my blogs or read my blogs or watched some of my videos, I'll often say, well, that can be a massive Achilles heel for lots and lots of promotion candidates, because they don't need to provide a written application. They won't ever write down their evidence and make it tangible on a piece of paper in front of them. It only ever exists in their head. And if you think about that, that's a significant disadvantage if you're then going to walk into an interview process without knowing your own evidence, without ever having seen it before, written down in a structured, meaningful way that aligns to the competencies, that hits all the buttons it needs to hit. That's not a position you want to be in. So my kind of advice or guidance, or I'll try not to give advice, I'll try and give tips, and options really that you can choose to do, and to try and make you think about this. But from my position, having seen hundreds now of people unprepared to go into promotion processes, I'll often say to them, could you just share with me, just email me a draft of your evidence against we're emotionally aware. Oh no, I haven't got it, Steve. Sorry, where is it then? Oh, well, we don't have to do it in our force, Steve. I say, okay, so where is it then? Where can you give it to me in some other way? I don't know what you mean, Steve. And we're actually talking about the fact it's never been written down anywhere. And that's what we're talking about. So if you imagine the 6 competencies and you haven't got 6 examples written down, there's 4 values and you haven't got 4 examples of those values written down, that's a lot of stuff for you to remember when you walk into a promotion board. That's a hell of a lot. And let's face it, you're going to choose to put yourself under additional pressure. And that may not play out well for you. So what I'm going to talk about now is not only some of the potential evidence that you can think about, because often people don't know what's good. Well, I've done this, I've done that, I've done the other. But is that good promotion evidence, Steve? So just some of the areas I'll talk about now are important, but what I would say is, although you're going to be assessed at CVF level 2 for Sergeant Inspector, Chief Inspector, you also need to ensure that your evidence is at the level of the rank you aspire to. It doesn't need to be at the level of the rank, because you may not have done acting or temporary or anything. So, but you will have a role profile that you're going for, so it should reflect the requirements of that role profile and the functions and dimensions of a sergeant or inspector, middle manager role, or chief inspector. So some of the areas, some of the potential evidence that people say, well, Steve, I implemented a change on response the other day as to how we file away our drink drive reports on the system. And I said, okay, tell me more about it. Well, no, that's it, Steve. And it can't be like that. So what we're trying to do is get that evidence presented. You'll often get 250, 350, 500 or 750 words to give your evidence, which to some people seems not very much, and to others it's too much. It's like a small university essay to do. So sometimes you get like 2,000 words for examples of 500, which is effectively a small essay. So when you actually have to focus in on that, that's a particular demand, and if you're not au fait with it, it can be a bit daunting. People often talk about promotion processes as mystifying and daunting. So let's unravel some of that and demystify it. So some of the areas of potential evidence you can talk about, developing yourself and others. That's really important. So CPD, what are you doing about your CPD at the moment? Are you involved in any academic study? So any formal outside study, Institute of Leadership and Management, any outside or specialist interests that you've got. So you're doing football coaching, or you're doing something that's developing yourself. How are you developing yourself as a police officer? So that might be that you're doing a lateral role, or you're doing additional duties, you're taking on additional responsibilities. All of this is evidence of developing yourself, but it's just that conscious awareness that you need to demonstrate about how you're doing it, what you're doing and why you're doing it, because it's really important. So coaching and mentoring is good. Developing other people, what are you doing to develop other people? So certainly if you're a sergeant going for inspector, I'd expect to hear that you're pretty busy developing other people, or you've certainly got activity going on, whether you're mentoring or coaching them yourselves, or you are giving them opportunities to learn and to grow and to develop in the organisation, and to achieve their dreams and their hopes and their aspirations. So what are you doing around developing yourself? Because that's good potential promotion evidence, and you can align that to any of the competencies. Taking ownership, we're emotionally aware, we're analytical. You can make it fit any of those if you needed to. Managing and responding to a planned or a spontaneous operational incident. Well, there's policing for you. And lots of cops, unsurprisingly, have got lots of evidence around that, lots of examples, and many of them are doing the same thing: arriving at crime scenes, managing critical incidents, declaring critical incidents, controlling, managing and directing resources at the scene, identifying and managing operational threats and risks. So all of this comes together in, managing and responding to planned or spontaneous operational incidents. But it's got to be a story. You've got to try and put that into a pen picture, if you like, of with a beginning, a middle and an end. So what was the problem or the situation you were dealing with? Give us some context around that. What were the actions that you took that are aligned to the competency being assessed? And what was the outcome? What did you achieve? So that's a common theme through any of these issues that you might choose to kind of offer. Improving the performance of individuals and teams. So whether that's through processes to reduce crimes, or underperformance of individuals, or supporting individuals and giving them the support they need to do their jobs better. That's evidence for promotion. Supporting or being inclusive with colleagues or other stakeholders, helping someone obtain reasonable adjustments to do their job better, having the awareness to do that. Lots of cops don't. They don't have an awareness around the Equality Act. They don't have an awareness around the requirement not to discriminate against colleagues. They're not aware of the competencies and the descriptors in competencies that capture these behaviours. So again, you may well have done it, but you may not be able to kind of articulate it in the way that would be good evidence against the competency. So have a think about that, and to help you with that, I've just done, I think, a trilogy of blogs, if not two together, around diversity, equality and inclusion, because that is a strategic priority for policing at the moment. And as I allude to in there, and I think in a previous video, I think it's Kent Police at the moment have a diversity and inclusion academy now, and there are certainly in some forces a pre-interview board before your interview board to focus on diversity, equality and inclusion issues. So have a think about that, and when you've acquired evidence or anything you're able to offer in relation to that. Improving the well-being of your colleagues and supporting the well-being. Well, as a sergeant, it's a fundamental part of the role, welfare, along with supervision, training, CPD, discipline, leadership for people, performance and change, decision-making. Welfare is right in there. So how have you helped the welfare and well-being of your colleagues? I'll do a separate video around that because it's such a biggie, But again, that's good evidence. Implementing changes in your team or more widely across the force that have improved service delivery or have used resources more effectively and efficiently. You've improved working practices. It's not about change for change's sake, but improving working practices is about doing things better. So again, that links to innovation, creativity, open-mindedness, one of the competencies. How have you done that? When did you do it? How did you do it? Why did you do it? So just getting you into the mindset of that. Effective decision making and use of the NDM, either yourself or through empowering others. So the NDM, the National Decision Model, is how you make your decisions. Often people will tell me about decisions they've made and they don't ever refer to the NDM, ever. And yet, in policing, it's the National Decision Model. It relates to making effective, ethical, values-based decisions. And even outside in policing, even if people don't call it the NDM, they still use the NDM. It's just not called the NDM, but they'll still go through information, the risks, powers and policy and guidance, options and contingencies. They'll make a decision, take action, and then review it and think about it. And at the heart of it, it's aligned to values, personal values. In policing terms, it's code of ethics. So again, making decisions is a big area. When have you done that? How did you do it? What was complex or challenging about it? Because if people get asked what was complex or challenging about a decision, give us an example of that. They forget to say the complex or challenging bit. So think about the most challenging decision you've made, and you've probably got some good promotion evidence there. The effective investigation of crime, that's a driver of public confidence. That's links to sergeants and inspectors' roles, setting, communicating, reinforcing standards, particularly around crime investigation. So through all the stages, from instigation, initial investigation, investigative evaluation, and all the way through, case preparation, evidential evaluation through to court. All of those things, and understanding the process that way, and giving evidence of where you've improved that. And management of resources and delegation. So again, that's a part of the role and the description. So all of this is captured in my digital toolkits that you can download anytime you like. There's a 4-hour promotion masterclass you can download. There's a 20% discount code, RS Guides 20, all block capitals, no gaps, which will get you 20% off any of them. But in terms of the evidence that you're offering, just make sure it is at the level, CVF level 2, that's where you'll be assessed. Make sure any evidence you offer has a beginning, a middle and an end. So what was the problem or the situation or the context? Very short introduction to that just to set it. What were the actions you took that are aligned to the role that you're going for and the behaviours expected, and what was the outcome or the result at the end? So if you can present evidence from any of those areas in that way, that's important. Just remember, as inspector ranks, it also has to be at the level of the rank, and it has to be an element of complexity there, not to confuse anybody, but there has to be, rather than one dimension, it needs to have some degree of complexity around it, making links to mission, vision, values and priorities, and there needs to be a clear outcome in there that's strategic, hopefully, and other than that, structure. So having some structure to them. I've talked about one, problem, action, result. There are others, and I've done other videos on them. I'll be doing other videos to follow this one, and I'll be doing one on well-being, as I alluded to earlier. And until then, stay safe, take care, and I'll see you again.